Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago. And when you think about why, in the African American community at least, there's a lot of pain around what happened here, I think it's important to recognize that the African American community is looking at this issue through a set of experiences and a history that that doesn't go away.
All right. Welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, folks. President Obama making blockbuster statements at the press room earlier today at the White House before Jay Carney's press briefing. He went on for about 20 minutes talking about the shooting, the verdict, and misrepresenting what he said during when he first said that he actually said Trayvon Martin, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. Now he says that he said that it could have been his son, but now he says he could have been Trayvon. Trayvon could have been him 35 years ago. He said that African Americans most, I'll quote you what he said before, instead of playing the cut. He said very few African American men have been haven't been followed while shopping. Very few African American men haven't had locks click on car doors when they cross the street. Very few African American men haven't been in elevators and saw women clutching their purses tighter. He also said the first two happened to him. Joining us now to talk about the guns and the verdict and the whole thing is Dr. Rob Baker, Executive Director of the League of Young Voters. Hey, Doc, how are you, sir?
Please call me Biko. Please, not Doc.
Okay, Biko. Good. All right. So, first of all, did you hear all the president's remarks?
Yeah, I did. I watched them and heard the highlights over and over again, and I think it's an interesting conversation. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say, Steve, because I know that we may not always be on the same page ideologically at times.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. And you classify yourself as African American?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I just want to check because sometimes I don't know with white Hispanic and this and that. I don't want to mischaracterize anybody. I just think that I just think that acknowledging that there's a disproportionate amount of blacks in the criminal justice system and that they commit a disproportionate amount of crimes, and talking about the violence in the black community, saying that statistically Trayvon Martin was more likely to be shot by a peer, and then writing it off to a violent past in the community. I don't know if he's talking about Jim Crow or slavery or what the heck he's talking about. I think he should have been talking about fatherless homes and kids who are growing up without direction and making excuses and not getting the education they deserve, and the fact that we have a terrible education system. Instead, he wrote the violence in the black community off to past violence in that community. I don't know what he's referring to.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on one point. I think Obama needs to do a much better job of being defining in his talking points. I think sometimes he gets away with being real articulate, and I agree that he needs to have a stronger statement. But at the same time, I think he's talking about America's history of violence and racism. I think it's clear that's what he was talking about, and that's probably why some people are reacting the way they are.
Well, okay, but how does America's history of violence and racism, and by the way, Charles Barkley said that blacks could be racist too. He said that yesterday. We're talking about the verdict. How does that enter into the high black-on-black crime rate, or the fact that with their small number in the population, blacks commit a very big disproportionate amount of the crime? When they're committing these crimes, they're thinking of slavery? They're thinking of Jim Crow? I don't get it.
Yeah, there's some scholars like Peniel Joseph and others who have looked at the Black Power movement. And if you look at the Black Power movement, that was when Black America first started embracing guns. And unfortunately, I feel with some of the military sort of folks coming back from the military, that they brought some of that culture to the movement. And I feel, unfortunately, the black community has adopted that, and we've also been oppression is real, poverty is real, discrimination is real, even if people don't want to admit it. And I feel like we've unfortunately adopted some of the military and gun culture and have now turned it on ourselves. That's unfortunate. I think that's true. I would love to talk more about that.
Yeah, well, I don't know how about the military culture.
Well,
Military. Wait.
people
Let me
like
just say. Let me just say. Military doesn't shoot their own in their own barracks or their own fort or their own soldiers. So I don't know how you would say that.
No, I just think that the anger of and we all know I have family members who fought in Vietnam, and a lot of the African American community and activists were coming from Vietnam. And many came back with angry and with more knowledge of guns, and the movement was infused with the culture of guns and military training. And I think, unfortunately, what hasn't happened in the African American community and the community at whole is how black community, who is angry because of poverty, has adopted guns. We don't have the same culture of gun training in a lot of these urban areas, but there are guns. And so I think that's what Obama is saying and tying that to a longer history of Jim Crow. I do think it's a much stronger history than we want to talk about.
So your initiative, the No Guns Allowed initiative, which your organization is undertaking, the League of Young Voters, what is that all about?
Well, it's inspired by a song by Snoop Dogg, and it's a song about no guns in the community having a good time. It's not an anti-gun song. It's an anti-violence song. And so that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about how we can come up with common sense solutions to making our community safe.
Well, okay, but I don't know much about Snoop Dogg, to be honest with you. I don't know much about. Well, I mean, I don't know much about his. I saw him at the ESPYs in the audience, and I said to my son, "That's Snoop Dogg, right?" He said, "Yeah," but I don't. But I don't know about his lyrics. But let's forget him and let's talk about in general. My God, the whole rap culture is nothing but violent and disrespectful, and guns and killing and I mean I haven't heard the president say that until this point. I haven't heard you say that.
I'm not going to disagree with you. My rap bars are high. I'm a writer for the biggest hip hop magazines, and I think you would look at a lot of younger people in the hip hop community and say that hip hop has become too violent. I mean, I don't think you can understand hip hop without understanding America, but that's another conversation. It is too violent. I hope we can work on making it less violent.
Yeah, but I mean, so does Snoop Dogg do any violent hip hop?
No, Snoop is actually, I don't know if you've gotten an opportunity to see his new film Reincarnated, but he's now rapping underneath the moniker Snoop Lion, and it's an attempt to really put out a positive vibration through the music culture. And I encourage you to check it out. He has really, as a rapper and a leader in hip hop community, owned up to some of his past and is trying as an adult to do a different thing. And I encourage everybody to check it out. It's called Reincarnated.
All right. Listen, I appreciate talking to you, and I hope you'll come back, Biko. Appreciate it.